संसदेच्या अर्थसंकल्पीय अधिवेशनाचा पहिला भाग काल संपला. दुसरा भाग 11 मार्च रोजी सुरू होणार आहे. पण अर्थसंकल्पावर जेव्हा चर्चा झडली तेव्हा सगळ्याच बुद्धिवाद्यांना एक प्रकारचा खुराक मिळाला. अत्यंत उच्च दर्जाची चर्चा राज्यसभेत पाहायला मिळाली. माजी अर्थमंत्री चिदंबरम यांनी सरकारवर अर्थसंकल्पावरून आरोप केले, तर त्याला त्याच तोडेचं उत्तर अर्थमंत्री निर्मला सीतारमण यांनी दिलंय. चिदंबरम यांनी सोमवारी आपल्या भाषणात अर्थव्यवस्था ही ICU मध्ये असून तिला तज्ञ डॉक्टरांची आवश्यकता आहे, पण सरकारकडे तज्ञ डॉक्टरच नाहीत, तर या अर्थव्यवस्थेचा उपचार कोण करणार, ही बाब निर्मला सीतारमण यांच्या जिव्हारी लागली. थोडक्यात सध्याच्या अर्थमंत्री या अर्थव्यवस्था हाताळण्यासाठी सक्षम नाहीत, लायक नाहीत असा अर्थ त्यांनी काढला. त्याला सीतारमण यांनी सडेतोड उत्तर दिलं. ही जुगलबंदी ऐकलीच पाहिजे.
The economy is in the ICU. Not my words, his words. Nobel laureate Abhijit Banerjee said the economy is doing very badly. All that he said was the economy is doing very badly. Yes, ministers pounced upon him. Ministers pounced upon him. Be that as it may. The chief economic advisor of your government for 4 years says the economy is in an ICU. I disagree. I think the patient has to be wheeled into the ICU. Unfortunately, the patient is being kept out of the ICU and incompetent doctors are now looking at the patient. Of course, you will not consult the opposition parties.
No.
The Congress, of course, is untouchable.
Consult no one.
The rest of the opposition is looked upon with great contempt. So you will not consult anyone. You will not even go across to Dr. Manmohan Singh and ask him, listen, what do you have to say? I think it's dangerous to have the patient outside the ICU.
They are denied priority.
We know what will happen if the patient who has to be wheeled into an ICU is kept outside the ICU and looked upon by incompetent doctors. Now, what is the purpose of standing around the patient and chanting, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas? The patient is not going to revive.
So the twin balance sheet problem is something which we have inherited in 2014, and as a result of which a whole lot of issues have cropped up for the health of public sector banks, for the number of cronies who have run away from the country, who we are trying to bring back. So that balance sheet problem is not something which I would want to learn from those very competent doctors. One. Second, sir, NPA ran into lakhs of amounts. We are retrieving all of them, and every session of the parliament, we are standing up and answering questions on how much has been brought back and how many people on whom we have taken action. NPAs ran into lakhs of crores, and of course the cronies have ran out of the country. We are getting them all back. That is another remedy offered during the 2008-9 crisis. We certainly do not want to inherit or copy those remedies of competent doctors. So we have not taken the remedies offered by the competent doctors. On handling inflation, we have kept it well under 4 all through our rule, and under Prime Minister Modi, food inflation has never crossed beyond the acceptable threshold. Up to 70,000 crores is also shown here. We have not fudged any of these accounts. We have not pushed it onto oil marketing companies. We have not, kept our books nice and clean and pretty, but we've shown everything where they should be shown. And therefore, sir, very clearly, we need to understand competent doctors. So then, we were told you have a predisposed mindset about FTAs. You don't want bilateral agreements, you don't want FTAs. Sir, the FTAs which were agreed during that time have been reviewed not just by us in the ministry, have been reviewed severally by several experts, have been reviewed by the much praised chief economic advisor, who is often nowadays quoted by the opposition benches. Even he has said that FTAs are harming many of us. It's all right, sir. And if FTA is drafted during that time, negotiated during that time, I appreciate Commerce Minister today who's spending hours on end on FTAs and the impact it is having on Indian industry. For negotiating such FTAs, sir, I would want to appreciate today's response in the ground for the competent doctors. Today, no one wants us even to talk about bilateral because industry is scared, MSMEs are scared. The effect of some of the old-time FTAs are hurting them. And I have no hesitation in saying that such people should have an interaction with those who have agreed with those FTAs, sir. Competent doctors again. Sir, then I'll come back. The country is accused today. Oh, harassment. Harassment is happening. Criminalization of, the acts, IT acts and so on. I'll just quote the example of one act, sir. I'll just quote one example. In 2014, I was a Minister of State in Finance. Since then till today, the number of amendments that 2013 Companies Act is going through, you can ask anyone in this house, anyone here and there, the amount of work one has got to do for cleansing the Companies Act passed in 2013, which has such a lot of criminal elements, till today, all of us are bearing the brunt, and our first 5 years have gone in.
The third problem with this government is its predispositions. And this is an important point. The government believes that the problems are cyclical and not structural. Their own chief economic advisor for nearly 4 years has repeatedly said, and he said it again 4 days ago, the problems are more structural than cyclical. If the problems are cyclical, that requires one kind of answers. If the problems are structural, that requires a very different kind of answers. I can list a number of things this government is predisposed to. For example, it is predisposed to protectionism. It's predisposed against bilateral and multilateral trade agreements. It's predisposed towards the rupee being quote-unquote strong, whatever that word strong means. It's predisposed to a number of things which, according to me, are outdated philosophies.
Up to 70,000 crores is also shown here. We have not fudged any of these accounts. We have not pushed it onto oil marketing companies. We have not, kept our books nice and clean and pretty, but we've shown everything where they should be shown. And therefore, sir, very clearly, we need to understand competent doctors. They're being put on us. The government is predisposed in its attempt to be protectionist, predisposed against FTAs, predisposed about the strength of the Indian rupee. So one thing I concede, sir, we are certainly predisposed about one thing, and that is not to repeat the faulty remedies which the UPA government had given in 2008-9 time when there was a crisis. None of that will be repeated by us. That is the predisposed mindset of this government. So predisposed we are, yes, but not for those items which were listed against us, but certainly for this.